Greetings, salutations. Happy Monday, August the 10th, 2026. Welcome to Backstage, the daily show for entrepreneurs, founders, visionaries, and builders ready to stop waiting in the wings and let their stories power their growth. Thank you for joining me. I've got writing on the brain today, and I guess writing on a Monday. But I'll just say real quick before I get into that, hope you had a good weekend. We're enjoying a very quintessentially summer day here. I think it's going to be about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which, yeah, so it should be very, very nice. 91 degrees Fahrenheit here. We might have some crazy rain. We got a lot of rain lately, too, kind of crazy storms. But I'm watching it go from 90 to the upper 80s to about 80 degrees for a week starting this weekend with sunny skies. So it's just gonna be glorious. So I don't know why we're not having a horrible 100-degree experience lately, but we're not. So great, much better than last year. Fingers crossed. All right, listen, writing on the brain. I want to talk about whether or not to use AI for writing, and I think like a lot of us, I have been experimenting, trying different things with AI, writing and otherwise. I'll give you an example. So for a hot second, I used a tool. I'm almost embarrassed to admit it, but I was like, I very reluctantly tried this out. A tool to automatically connect with people on LinkedIn and start a conversation. And I did it for a hot minute, and I mean very, very quick. And I did not feel right about it. And ultimately, it wasn't that it would be totally ineffective. I mean, if you play the numbers game on LinkedIn and go after enough people, you're eventually going to get to somebody who you should have a conversation with. But what bothered me about it was that it felt deceptive to me because, you have a tool that's pretending it's standing in for you. It's not saying, hey, this is an AI tool, which would make it even less attractive to respond to, right? So I bagged that, very quickly. And I tell you what, pissing off just the wrong one person for me, again, this is all for me, wasn't worth it. But then I get to like AI and there's AI and tasks, clearing your desk and this and that. But writing to me has been the most interesting adventure as far as where it fits into writing. So using it to work through a difficult thing that you're trying to write. Maybe it's a sensitive email and you want to get some other takes on how to write it. Okay. Maybe it's a newsletter. Maybe I know people who are writing, books or are creating books, I should say, using AI tools. And so there's a debate going back and forth. Brett Stevens in the New York Times, August 4th, wrote an opinion piece, and it's titled, "I'm Begging You, Never Write with AI." And in it, and I'm just going to read a few passages. He starts off by saying, "This column isn't so much an argument as it is a plea. Don't use artificial intelligence to help you write. Never let AI do your writing for you. Don't use it for school papers, work briefs, letters to your in-laws, speeches at your company gathering, or emails, however perfunctory, to your colleagues or friends. Don't let it organize your notes. Don't let it suggest an opening sentence or segue or a closing paragraph. Don't ask it to write a first draft and pretend that editing that draft somehow makes it your own. It doesn't." And he goes on to talk about how it's not about the ethics of it. With some citations, you can make it ethical. But he basically is arguing in part that it creates atrophy, that writing is how we develop our ideas. It's how we test our ideas. It enfeebles us. Well, I'll just read it straight from what he says. "The problem with writing with AI," this is a quote, "the problem with writing with AI is that it's mentally enfeebling, an escalator toward a result when you really need to make a daily habit of taking the stairs," end quote. So as it, he talks about it becoming ubiquitous and undermining our ability. He talks about the societal impact. He goes big with it. He basically says this post-literate age and, it can create horrible political outcomes as we can't think because we're not writing. I find a lot of this very compelling. What I'm not entirely sold on is not using it for anything. I've been using AI to write the summary for this show for quite a while now. And I couldn't do the show every single day or most days if I didn't have an AI tool to summarize it for me, to put in the description box. Now, obviously, this is not an AI bot talking right now. This is a real person. Trust me, it's me. But to summarize what I said, I find Claude to be very effective in quickly summarizing what I'm trying to say with a decent title. And I can put it out very, very quickly and move on with my day. So it's going to be hard to get me to think otherwise on that. And I'll probably keep doing that. But I think it's obvious that it's an AI summary. And I think if we go into Google and you Google something now, you get a little AI summary, and it's very helpful, actually, because it gives you a preview, right? So I'm okay with that. But I have to say, I mostly agree with Stevens. And here's why. I think that as we grapple with what to use AI for, and like maybe you're standing up something and you're just overwhelmed, and for a while you're going to use AI to help with your writing. I don't see a problem with that. But sustained use of AI does create an atrophy, and that's my word, not his. He talks about enfeeblement, post-literate, etc. But for me, it's an atrophy. That writing is a muscle. That writing requires you, when you write something and you go deep, you stop and your eyes go up and write, and you're thinking, and then you go back and you type a word, and it's, it can be very frustrating and time consuming. No wonder we love going to the quick fix. But when I read an email that has been drafted by AI to me, that is intended to be a one-on-one email, for example, it is so obvious that it's AI, and it feels like I'm not getting the person. There's no marrow in it. The dirt has no nutrients in it. There's no umami, right? Now, when I have AI analyze my own emails, for example, or things, it'll say, oh, you're sending a mixed message here, da-da-da-da-da. And that, okay, I think, oh, gee. And if I keep going around and around and around, I'll eventually strip out anything that could be possibly, confusing potentially to some person out there. But you're also going to strip out your unique point of view, your unique flavor. And if you're out doing talks, getting on stages, we have to preserve our ability to create, to truly create from inside of ourselves. And for that to be messy. And on that point, I agree with Stevens. So I find a bit of a balance. I don't agree with him whole hog that you shouldn't do absolutely anything. I disagree with that. I think it's skillful means for certain things. But in general, I can't say I disagree. And I think that, when I look at all of the AI slop and just the sheer volume of stuff out there, not contributing to that, is a pretty big balance. I mean, we're all under pressure to grow our businesses and put our messages out there and feed an algorithm. But, I'll leave you with this. I have a tool that I've used that does a much better than average job of helping you write a LinkedIn post. And what it does is it goes out and it looks at your past writings and it finds, quote unquote, your voice. Now that's an interesting point. Your voice, what you sound like. It doesn't get to the meaning underneath the way that you sound, though, because only we can bring that, right? So it's sort of top level, what's the music look like? What does it sound like when you speak? We can replicate that. But anyway, and it analyzes the way that you've written posts. It also looks at, which posts hit better than others, which ones went quote unquote viral or got more attention. All right. So then when you bring up a partial point, so you can speak into it, you can write part or all of a post, and then it'll whip it up into a full, complete post. And it really does a great job, I have to tell you. But here's the problem with it. If you keep doing it over time, not enough of your writing will have been pressure tested by you. We'll have mistakes in it. We'll have little words that only you use. And so what is the AI going to do when it keeps going back to find your voice? It's going to find its voice. And less of you will be in there, and more of this blank, vanilla, you name the term. That's my concern. So I have a concern that both my skill at writing something convincing and entertaining and capturing will become so weak that I'm unable to do it. I am enfeebled, as Brett Stevens writes. And that what I actually put out there will be polished and absolutely useless. It'll just be noise. And I think that's the battle that we are facing right now with where we fit into this whole process. So I am leaning on less. I'm leaning in. I'm basically in Stevens' corner, and I'm still figuring out where I find it not dangerous. It's like eating donuts, right? If I eat donuts every day, very bad. Every once in a while, a donut, it's nice. We had some apple cider donuts yesterday. Fantastic. But we need not be eating deep fried bread with sugar on a regular basis. And I think perhaps doing too much writing with AI is kind of like donuts. They go down real fast. It's so easy to eat. But, we need to keep our skills. So let me just read the last paragraph of Stevens' opinion piece. He says, the next time you're tempted to just adopt an automated response for a text message or an email, don't. Type out a response that's your own. Think of it as an act of free will. He says, or a vote against Trump, if that's what you think it is. What takes you a few additional seconds is an act of resistance against an ever dumber world. And I have to say, the ever dumber world part is a concern. So as we travel this world together, I hope that I am not coming off as being condescending. I'm in it with everybody else. I'm trying to figure it out as well. And so however you're using AI, I'm not judging you. I'm saying this is how I'm seeing it right now for myself. And to the extent that it helps you think through where your boundaries are and what your priorities are. For me, I do not want to dumb down my brain by not forcing myself to go through the labor of writing. And even giving a few inches to it can just end up taking a mile, as we would say. All right. I'm going to leave you with that sentiment. Where is your line and what are your priorities? And what do you think? Drop a note in the Substack channel. We're growing, by the way. We have a few more subscribers, and what you don't see publicly are the followers on my Substack channel are growing and globally. So we're building something here, and I'm going to be putting more attention on Substack, speaking of not writing with AI, and creating that community there. So I really appreciate that you're part of it. We've gone really long today. I guess I was pent up over the weekend. But listen, have a fantastic day wherever you are. Please share this show with a friend if you can, and help us grow some more and figure out how we serve one another in a meaningful, real, human way. As always, be good to yourself and others, and we will check back again with you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.